Welcome to the Dangerous Man Podcast, where we talk about how to become a better man, take responsibility for our mission, create value for others, and the many failures and lessons we've learned along the way. Stay dangerous.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to The Dangerous Man. I am your host, Adam Tuft, joined by co-host
John Castoris.
What's going on, John?
I'm just pumped to be here. I'm stoked to be here. I'm just so excited to be here. I'm really just so stoked to be here, man. Did I say that?
Being here, man.
Woo!
Woo!
And, we actually have a guest on today. Today's a Chronicles episode, and Adam will explain more what that is in a moment here. But we have a very special guest who, he doesn't have these conversations nearly with anybody. He said just mentors. And he's going to unleash his story on you guys here in a second, and really just his journey as a dangerous man. We'll get more into that in a second, but you guys are going to want to stick around for this. I'm just so excited. And so back to you, Adam.
Yeah, speaking of that, you mentioned what kind of show this is. So we have different formats for the shows within the show. The first is experts. So we'll have experts on that talk about their realm of expertise on the show to give you guys a more knowledge in a certain realm of their expertise. And then the second form is Chronicles, where within our Dangerous Man movement, what are men doing? How they becoming more dangerous? What's their story in becoming dangerous? Yeah. And that's what we're doing today.
Kind of an origin story of sorts.
Yes, origin story of sorts. Other times we have Danger Zone, which is just me and John kind of shooting from the hip a little bit about certain things that we want to talk about with you guys. Other times we have Roundtable, which is the founders of the Dangerous Man movement, of which our guest is one of them. But we're going into his story, so it's going to be a chronicle this time. Other times we also do Q&A. So that's pretty self-explanatory. You guys send us your questions and we answer them in a dangerous way. And John, where can people put their questions?
You can send your questions on Instagram. If you go to @dangerousmen.co on Instagram, why don't you just send us a DM and we'll be able to take those questions and the interesting ones, comments, things you're struggling with. You can make it like a letter format and we'll be able to answer them on the show here in the Q&A episodes.
Yeah, we're really excited to be able to answer your questions and help you guys become even more dangerous. Speaking of being dangerous,
hell yeah.
Our guest on today is a founder of the Dangerous Man movement, is with me and John and Peter and Danny. He's an owner of an e-commerce drop shipping business. He is the second generation pipe fitter, the 9th of 11 in his family. And he's a passionate outdoorsman and hunting guide. Jimmy Abbott, what's going on, man?
What's going on, guys? Man, I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me. This is cool. This is really cool. See, I listen to this podcast a lot, and it's kind of fun to be. It's fun to be in the room now. Yeah. With you guys. It's the
first time we're having Jimmy on the episode on the show. So
yeah, buddy.
Yeah, John said he's excited. I'm very excited. I would be very curious to who is the most excited.
Yeah, John. I don't know if you said it enough. Yeah.
He said it quite a few times. So
I learned from one of our other guests. He said, if you don't know what to say, just keep saying the same thing in different ways, and people they'll continue to know.
I'm excited. I'm over the moon excited.
Oh man.
Okay. I know we're talking about this. That's like how Donald Trump explains it. He's like explains the same thing in a bunch of different ways.
Well, he does it.
They're the best. They're the greatest. They're the world.
Well, he does it that way because that's actually like a communication technique.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But it's fun to reference though.
It is. Yeah, man. So today's a Chronicles episode, and so we're gonna go into your story. And Adam and I are really curious to hear, what's your story of becoming, wanting to become the dangerous man. Every man receives the call to embark on a journey of greatness, as we say, claim your greatness, right, in the movement. And we want to hear, where'd you come from? And what was a pivotal moment where you really kind of had your aha moment where you wanted to change your life and go after something greater? So, yeah, man, we're here for your story today. So,
yeah.
Oh, cool. I mean, yeah, I'll just dive right in. Uh, yeah, as growing up, I grew up in the Twin Cities area, you know, St. Paul side, Minnesota, St. Paul boy.
Shout out.
Minneapolis was like my, up until I started working a lot in Minneapolis, that was like another state to me. It could have been like, I might as well have been in Houston, Texas for all I cared.
St. Paul's better than Minneapolis.
I think so too.
Yeah, dude, this is real.
I think so too.
The rivalry is real.
The rivalry is real.
Yeah.
Real.
It's like twin siblings, right? Like they'll banter against each other.
Yeah.
Like Minneapolis, St. Paul. But then like if like people from Chicago come after Minneapolis, we're like, no, screw you.
Yeah.
Your city sucks.
Oh, dude. I mean, like,
we love Minneapolis.
It's great.
Yeah.
it's just the most Minneapolis thing I think I've ever seen. I was working on an apartment building in like, you know, in like the probably not the best probably an area that doesn't represent Minneapolis in the best way. So it's kind of a cheap shot, but it was fun to watch, man. I was working on top of a roof on a new apartment building, and we were hearing sirens everywhere, and it just was like circling all around us. We're like, what the heck's going on?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we hear this big crash, and we look over, there's a car that crashed into a bus stop, and these kids running out, and I saw a canine unit come out. There were like 6 cop cars chasing these kids, and they let the German Shepherd out. To this day, I've never seen a happier dog. I have seen plenty of, hunting dogs, all that stuff. They're all, you can't make a dog happier. I've never seen a happier dog than that German Shepherd chasing down that kid. And there was an armed robbery. So I'm like, oh, that makes sense. But good old
that took about 2.5 seconds to catch up to the kid.
Dude,
those dogs are so fast.
Dude,
man.
it was anyway.
I have 2 friends with German Shepherds, so they're nuts.
Yeah, my niece has one, and they're fun dogs.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So, holy crap. So yeah, born and raised in the Twin Cities area.
St. Paul's better. Yeah.
St. Paul's better.
St.
Yeah,
Paul's
we've
better.
established that.
It's the better twin.
It's better the twins.
It's the older twin. It might be the smaller twin, but it's the older twin.
It's capital, baby. But yeah. So grew up in that area. Grew up in a very good family. Man, had an awesome. I couldn't have asked for a better childhood. Really. I mean, had a stayed-home mom. My dad worked as a pipe fitter. Him and all 3 of his brothers were pipe fitters, St. Paul pipe fitters. So, you know, I kind of that was kind of there.
Yeah.
I've kind of always known that. Yeah, man, we lived in an area that's now developed, but had like cornfields in the back. You know, you could shoot shotguns back there. We had a horse for a few years, chickens, all that stuff. Very faith-filled family too. So a lot of core values were established for me young, especially, I'll cast aside my opinions of this organization right now, but I was in Boy Scouts for a while, and man, I learned a lot of values and reverence. I take the Scout Oath and Law very seriously, actually, because of the reverence my parents brought me up with. So I'm very thankful for that. Mm-hmm. I actually pray those a little bit. The Scout Oath and Law every once in a while, but
and by reverence, do you mean kind of like the honor and respect that you give to something, or
yeah, like, you know, if something is worth somebody's time, I've always just been brought up that like that's worth some sort of reverence to some degree, and honestly, Boy Scouts taught me that.
Okay.
Golly, you know, I don't know how to explain it really. I mean, other than really, you know, faith. Just having reverence towards that, or even having reverence towards somebody's occupation, somebody, even if it's not your cup of tea, they put time into that, so you have reverence for it. Reverence can be, I can sit down for an hour and talk about reverence.
Okay.
Yeah,
but
that's awesome.
Well, we are sitting down.
We are sitting down.
So
these awesome core values and
raising really good core values, man. School's tough for me. We're not gonna get too deep into that right now. Fun fact, a very little known fact about
danger
me.
Zone.
Yeah, it's more for danger zone. We can talk about that later.
We actually talked about that last week. So
yeah, right.
Did you really? Cool. I can't wait to hear it. But so fun fact about me. Oh crap! I just had one. I crashed my first car at 2 years old. But that's what I just wanted to surprise you with that, because you guys were gonna think I was
like a little truck, or like
like a legit car,
like an actual car,
like an actual car. So my dad had
you drove a car at 2 years old.
You got to hear the story. So
oh my gosh,
my brother and I were, and I had a passenger. My brother was in the car, so it was great. So basically, my dad kind of let my brother and I kind of just do whatever. Like, I mean, like we had a lot of freedom as little kids, and my dad had this stick shift car. Well, there's something off because normally with a lot of stick shifts, you need to hit the clutch before you turn a gear.
Right.
And the parking brake didn't work, so he just left it in gear. Kind of see where the story's going. So my brother and I are crawling around inside this car. One of us, we're thinking it was me, bumped oh my gosh. The shifter and put it in neutral, and we just started rolling down the hill. And oddly enough, I still get shit for this today from my neighbors because his brother-in-law brought his brand new Corvette.
Oh no!
My first accident was into a Corvette.
No!
And we rolled down the hill into my neighbor's yard, down their hill, and into the Corvette.
Oh shoot!
Dude, I've never heard this story before.
I forget about it. You should.
Wow.
And so I still ask my dad.
You can't have a worse accident as a 2-year-old.
Imagine and so I sometimes will explain that.
Like, you dropped on your head as a kid? No. Well, I crashed into a Corvette.
I need to tell my brother this, and I'm pretty sure I know my brother listens to this podcast. I mean, he has 2 girls right now. I should tell him, hey, maybe you should rethink the whole wanting a boy thing. Because I'm not saying girls don't get reckless, but like the chances of that happening are way lower.
Right.
To be honest, though, I might almost rather have that because at least it's like some craziness going on.
At least you're a dangerous man from the age of 2. So, the story done, I guess.
But
right?
That's the story.
He was a badass. So.
I just felt, honestly, like when I was saying, fun fact about me, I was going to go into this, what I'm going to talk to you right now.
Yeah.
But like that one, like as an intrusive thought, I'm like, yeah, that'd be kind of fun to share. But I started my first business when I was in 3rd or 4th grade. I can't remember. Maybe it was that summer. So you guys know what parakeets are, like little tiny budgies or birds.
Mm-hmm.
They're technically called budgediergars.
But what?
And for short, budgediergars. People call them parakeets. That's just American terminology. They're actually called budgediergars.
Oh,
I've
heard of budgediergars.
I mean, gar is like a bird. Is like a bird ending.
Yeah, but you can call them budgie, right? Yeah. But for the sake of the story, we're gonna call them parakeet, just so I don't drive too many people nuts.
But in the biz, they call them.
In the biz, they call them budgies.
Okay,
that's amazing. So you started a parakeet business.
Yeah. So basically,
you a breeder,
I was a breeder, so I got really good at training them and training birds and parrots and stuff like that as a kid. It's actually a talent I still have. I'm just putting it off until I reach some of my other goals. I love training birds. It's a weird thing.
Wow.
I like training animals. I love training my dog. Anyway, I trained horses for a little bit with my cousin. But yeah, so I read a bunch of books as a 3rd grader, learning how to breed birds. And it's kind of hard to breed parakeets in captivity. It's really hard for me not to say budgie, but parakeets in captivity.
He's so into the biz.
Yeah. I mean, that's the terminology. And eventually I found a pair of birds that worked, and I could breed them. And so I bred these parakeets, and I raised them from the time they're babies, and so they never had to be trained because they're always. Whoa. So I sold them for $35 a piece as a 4th grader.
Wow.
Wow.
I don't even know if I knew what $35 looked like as a 4th grader.
I didn't know till I was done. I could have sold them for $80. There are other people selling them for $80. I was ripping myself. I just kind of was like, I felt
some
bad.
People got some real cheap parakeets.
I started out at $25 an hour. My dad's like, you should probably up that. So I was just like, okay, up to 35. And I mean, it was some side money. I mean, I was making more money than anybody else in my grade, to tell you that.
Oh yeah.
And then at 5th grade, I opened a second business. I didn't even have a name to it.
I just got a portfolio, dude.
Well, what I did
portfolio by grade, what? Sixth? Are we at 6th grade right now?
Pretty much. Well, we're at 5th grade at this point. Okay. But I would have my mom make these flyers with like the little cutouts for phone numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I would have our phone number so people could like rip it off. And we had like the saddle shops where we buy our horse grain. Mm-hmm. And so I had to take a tack and put it on the tack board where everybody else has all their farming equipment, all that stuff. And I'd love going back to like, Dad, 3 more got ripped off. Because I'd also offer a service for if you drop your bird at my house for a month, I will have your bird finger trained. Or like your bird will hop on your. And
That's awesome.
I did do that for a little bit.
They did that with children, you know.
Yeah. My biggest,
Drop off my kid at your house, and he'll be potty trained.
For a month.
but it was also hilarious because I'll never forget two people in particular, two people who did business with me in particular, the disappointment on their face when they saw that it was me and not my parents doing the work. Because
Really?
a fifth grade, well, I never said my age.
Yeah.
I didn't even say my name. I didn't know to do that.
Yeah.
It was just like, train your bird. Here's what I do.
Right.
And so they thought that my dad or my mom were doing it. When they saw that my dad was like, actually, no, it's him. There are two customers in particular were like, oh, okay. But
He of little faith.
Yeah.
My gosh, dude.
I mean, I can't blame them.
Yeah, right.
I do wonder, like, but like, if it was the right person, they would be like, this kid's a protege.
Well, I mean, and honestly, I did the right work for them. I mean, they were satisfied customers.
Mm-hmm.
The hardest one I ever did was somebody dropped off 2 lovebirds.
What's a lovebird?
They are really pretty. If you ever look it up, they're like really pretty, like green with like, I believe they have yellow faces and red beaks. Really pretty birds.
How big are they?
They're about 2 to 3 times the size of a parakeet. So if I was holding my finger right now, I'd probably stand about this tall.
So is it about like from tail to head? Like,
Adam's
what's
very into
the-
numbers.
Yeah.
If you did the
I
rock
also-
on, if you did
I
the
also
rock on
understand-
sign, if you do the rock on sign with your fingers, right?
Good.
That's about how long they are.
Okay, they're pretty
Rock
big
on.
then. Okay.
Yeah, they're not quite like, they're like a little bigger than a cockatiel.
Okay.
Dude.
But yeah, that
This
was my
guy
toughest
really has
one.
been in the biz, man.
He's really in the business.
Yeah, so
with birds.
I
Wow.
did that up until about 6th, 7th grade, and then sports took over, and but I still have all my equipment in my dad's garage actually
Wow.
for the bird training.
for the bird train because I had special cages for it.
If
I
anyone's
was
looking
way
for a startup, we can source your guys' gear.
yeah, man.
and,
I could probably give it away to somebody who I know is actually going to use it. I'd be open to that, but
Or
So-
we can just train a lot of birds.
So the
they'll
dangerous
be
man
our-
movement's
yeah.
actually a training training business now.
Yeah.
Well, no. So the thing is, if you sign up for
Oh.
our newsletter at dangerousmen.co, it actually gets delivered to you by a parakeet.
holy cow,
Dude,
my brother and I talked about doing like
we should
doing
figure that out. That'd be great.
I mean, Jimmy knows how to train parakeets, so maybe
I think this is a good
maybe
partnership.
maybe we can actually deliver on that front. It might also just be an email. Oh, no.
That was a great pun.
we used to get this catalog that would have all these chickens and all that stuff for sale for like farmers and all that.
Yeah.
Well, you can get like these carrier pigeons, like you could like deliver notes with. My brother and I were like, dude, we can like we had like pen pals with our cousins. We're like, dude, we can like write letters for our cousins.
Is that actually a thing?
Well, actually, in World War II, they'd send messages through. That'd be one of the methods they'd send messages is through a carrier pigeon. Look it up.
Bro.
It's cool. I believe. Don't quote me on this. I'm really like nervous to say this on a podcast, but I'm like 90% sure there have been like pigeons who have won awards in World War II for like bird bravery or something. I don't know.
I'm in the wrong business, man. This is I'm so fascinated.
We're
by
gonna
this.
start training birds.
But the thing is,
That was the Harry Potter thing.
my old basketball coach used to do this competitively. He'd compete with no, they're called homing pigeons, not carrier, homing pigeons. He'd like do competitions with them where like which pigeon would like start from this place in like Wisconsin and race to like St. Paul, and they like send these pigeons out. It's kind of a cool thing. But anyway, going back to the origin,
I just got sidetracked by that. That was fascinating.
That is stuff I haven't talked about in years,
dude.
But
Jimmy, I feel like I knew you well, and then you just like whip out like, oh yeah, I trade birds. I'm like, what?
yeah,
like I said, very few people have heard the things that are going to be said on this show.
Yeah,
so,
this is a lot of stuff I just
love it.
Don't talk about. I don't feel the need to talk about.
Anyway,
so
we're at 5th grade.
Yeah.
We're at 5th grade. It's just kind of a fun story about my childhood.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, really getting into my origin story. If we're gonna fast forward, right into, I was a missionary. I know in this podcast we talked about Net Ministries before, right?
Yep.
So we're gonna talk about probably about the year after that. There were a lot of turmoil going on at home with, developers trying to tear my parents' house down. Long story short, we got to keep the house. We won that. But originally I wanted to go to school to be into physical therapy. I wanted to stay in sports. I love sports. I love physical fitness. I love these things. I was thinking about going to college and all that stuff, but there's a turmoil inside me that itched at me really badly. And it was the fact that my dad and all three of his brothers were pipe fitters. One big common thing, all my aunts were stay-at-home moms. And I loved that about growing up.
Wow.
That was one of my favorite things about growing up, because during the summer, I could go to my cousin's house. Shout out to Dom and Jake Abbott. You guys, we grew up, we'd be able to go to each other's house, walk, run over, cause havoc. And we didn't have to worry about, is my mom home, or because we always knew that our moms were home and they were raising us, and it was great. It was the best way to grow up, and I knew that I wanted that for my family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or and I'm not against women working in the workforce, but I want her to at least have the option to stay at home and raise the kids. That's at least what my thought was. Owning a business full time wasn't a thought of mine at the time, but that was. So, and I knew that physical therapy was a lot of money and all that stuff. And I know it might take a long time for me to even get to the job I'd want. And by that time, I'd probably want to be married. So, long story short, I ended up going into welding, applied for pipe fitting, actually didn't get accepted. So I had to give him a welding diploma, worked as a welder for a little bit. Then I got accepted into the pipe fitting trade.
What was it like to not get accepted into that? 'Cause knowing that your uncles and dad pipe fitting.
Well, it was kind of nice. I've of the second generation. I'm the last of the second generation. Now there's a third generation coming on. I've had cousins who have been rejected as well, and a lot of it, is some of it's the liberal agenda. Color of my skin had something to do with it. My gender
retarded.
had something to do with it.
That's also retarded.
Yeah. So, I don't mean to throw that whole industry under the bus, but there is a lot of that going on, especially in the state we live in.
Yeah. I mean, part of the reason why we have this podcast, and part of the reason why we talk about the Twin Cities on this podcast.
Yeah. I mean,
is because we're going to change these cities.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly. So
come on. Shout out to all of those in the Twin Cities, because we're gonna be dangerous out here. Oh, anyway,
damn right, man.
Thanks, brother.
And I'm not gonna play victim. And I really didn't at the time. I still am really happy with how I responded to it. I was like, all right, well, what do I gotta do to get in? They said, get your welding diploma. I said, okay, well, I'll finish my diploma then. So I finished my diploma at St. Paul Tech. And went on to pipe fitting, and a little bit of a segue into that. I wanted to be a professional in either music or in the sports industry. Like maybe not a pro athlete per se, even though, fun fact, I did think I was born with a Twins jersey for the longest time. I didn't believe babies were born naked. I thought you were just born wearing clothes for whatever reason. So I thought I was born in the Twins jersey. And I was meant to play pro baseball.
Did you the birds, the bees, slightly abridged?
Actually, they didn't. But that's another story. But
that's amazing.
But I wanted to be. So I had John. You and I used to play music together.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to play music really, really badly, and one of the things what that was hard for that is funding. And one thing my dad taught me, he's like, well, hey, the awesome part about pipe fitting the trades is when you turn out as a journeyman, you can quit, go do music, and if you ever need to fall back on it, you can. That was kind of my talking point to doing that.
Oh, because once you're a journeyman, you're always a journeyman type of thing.
As long as I pay my dues once a year, I'm good.
Okay.
As long as I pay my monthly dues, which are not much, and my yearly license was with the Twin Cities in St. Paul, I'm good. I really am. So as long as I'm up to date on my licenses, I can drop ship and leave whenever I want and go pursue something else. And if money gets tight, I can go back into pipe fitting. That was his case for that. So at that time, for the first 2 years of pipe fitting, or for the first 3 years of pipe fitting, that was my thought process. So, you know what? Hey, I'm doing this. So I have the money. So I am able to actually pursue this dream of music. And I loved writing songs. I actually want to get back into writing songs because it was just therapeutic for me. I loved writing songs. I wanted to keep working with John. I wanted to keep working with our buddy Dan. Not Danny,
because you
Dan.
guys had a band, right?
Yeah, we called it Remainder 8.
Yeah,
it was awesome. It was fun.
Was this kind of like in high school then?
High school and then
Kind of fast forward over.
yeah,
that
pretty much
a
high
little
school.
bit.
Pretty much high school. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I fast forward. Yeah, feel free to pull me back because I fast forward a lot here. But yeah, man. So I had all these dreams and but one thing that I didn't like about jobs, because I worked as a landscaper before this as 7 years, and I hated it. And I absolutely hate it. I started at $9 an hour and worked my way up to $22 an hour.
Landscaping?
Landscaping.
Okay.
But every single time I had to ask for the raise and negotiate for the raise. There's something about that drove me nuts. I hated. Hey, I wonder if my boss is going to be, if he's in a good mood today. Maybe, I made a mistake last week. I probably shouldn't ask for a raise right now. I hated the whole timing thing.
Yeah.
I hated the fact that I had no control over that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I'm a union pipe fitter. And so there's a set minimum scale. A company can give me a raise however they want. They have to pay me at a minimum. I had an issue with that. I told my dad, I'm like, Dad, like, here's the deal with working landscaping. I can ask for a raise and all that stuff. He goes, well, you can do the same thing pipe fitting. And I said, okay, well, everybody else is being paid the same. What if I work harder than the guy next to me? My dad's like, well, hey, they'll lay those guys off and keep you, even though the pay's the same. I still, that helped, that put me at ease for a little bit, but I still wasn't satisfied with the fact that somebody else was choosing what my lifestyle was going to be. Yeah. Right. I was getting paid what a job's worth, not what I'm worth. And, so I decided the only other thing I knew to do was to try and open a traditional business. So I had a background in landscaping. So you know what? I'll work full-time as a pipe fitter. This is me just being a complete dumbass, but I tried. I really did try. Worked full-time as a pipe fitter, have a nice school, and you know what? I'm going to start a landscaping business on the side.
In your spare time,
In my spare time.
Well, also full-time pipe fitting.
Bro, one of the worst mistakes in my life. Oh, actually, no, it wasn't. I'm really glad for the experience. But that baby lasted for about 3-4 months. I just got sick and tired of bidding. Mm-hmm. I was exhausted. Mentally, everything was drained. So I put that to rest. I killed that. I stopped.
Looking back on that time, do you just remember the stress of it? Or do you remember like, oh, actually, I learned a lot of things from this and this, or?
Yeah, good question. I pretty much just remember the stress of it. I remember being tired.
Wow.
Like really tired. That's all I remember. And it was a very short-lived business.
How much sleep do you feel like you were getting at that point in your life?
Honestly, probably about the same now. It's just I needed more sleep. My body, I was working. Pipe fitting is a physically demanding job.
Yeah.
At least at that time, what I was doing, I was an apprentice. So you're basically like the bitch. Mm-hmm. So I'm running around tools for everybody. I'm doing all the hard labor. And then I get off that and then go do really hard labor as a landscaper.
Yeah.
Landscaping is way harder and way more rigorous than pipe fitting.
Because if you don't do the physical work, nothing happens.
Yeah. So I was still getting probably, roughly maybe seven hours of sleep a night, but I needed more than that with the amount of work I was putting in.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So not just you're up for a really long time, but you exhaust your body.
Yeah. I was just exhausted the whole time. I didn't enjoy it. And I also, a little backstory on the pipe fitting. I went in because I liked hourly. I didn't want to be paid salary because I liked the idea of, hey, if I want to take time off work, you don't have to pay me. And if you really don't like it, you can lay me off because I'll go somewhere else. I liked that. I liked the idea of the abundance mindset of a pipe fitter. Pipe fitters, one good thing about us is we have a very big abundance mindset. We're if you lay me off, that's great. Somebody else will take me.
Yeah.
And I have that mentality. I don't request days off. I tell you when I'm not coming to work. And I like that. That's what I really liked. I like being on the idea where I could take time off work and go spend time with my family. I really value that. So time goes on. I'm working as a pipe fitter and I realize I'm getting older. Okay. I'm not old at this point.
How old are you about that?
At this point,
story.
At this point, we're about 23.
Okay.
So you realize you're not a kid anymore, basically.
I realize I'm not a kid anymore. I am, but I'm also realizing that, it's actually not realizing. I'm believing the lie at this point. I'm just starting to believe the lie that my dreams will not come true and that I will not do anything great. Because I did some great, I had such mission and purpose when I was serving with Net Ministries and SPO. Like every day was a mission and purpose. Every day I woke up.
You did missionary work with
a mission. Yeah.
Missionary organizations.
Yes.
Oh.
And every day I woke up with purpose. Every day I woke up with the idea that I'm doing something greater than myself. And I only felt that once a week at the time. I was working with a church group with young adults, and that was probably my main purpose, a purpose giving thing at the time. But that was one day a week. Every other day was like going to the job. I'd kind of started telling myself that music won't actually happen. I started telling myself that, you know what, hey, like when you become a journeyman, that's all you're going to make. That's what freedom's going to be. And by the time I was 24, I will never forget this. I broke down in tears, actually. This is something I've actually never shared with anybody. This is the first time sharing this. I was 24. I came back from school one day, and I looked at the pay scales for the pipe fitters, and we make good money. It's not bad salary at all. But I looked at it, and I'm like, this is it. I only had a few more years of my apprenticeship, and I'm like, I was kind of racking all my dreams. I wanted to go to college and, play Division III football, just have a few more years, just, for fun. I had all this drive. I had so much left in me. And I felt like it was just that time and economy and everything was just sucking it away from me. And I'll never forget that moment at 24 where I said my dreams are over. This is it. Get a job. Hopefully buy a house. Get married and work till you die.
That's soul crushing.
I was on the floor. I remember sitting. There's an island in my parents' basement there, and I remember sitting on the floor of that crying, thinking that's it. And I believed that from the time I was 24. All the way up until at 26, I was flying home from a wedding. I'm kind of choking up a little bit right now thinking about that.
Dude.
But
wow, that's crazy,
keep
dude.
Going.
Yeah,
so good.
Yeah,
dude,
this is just stuff.
That hurts, dude. That hurts. Like, there's a reason why we started the Dangerous Man movement, is to help guys that were in that exact position.
Yeah, dude.
Where they feel like their dreams are dead. And to for us to like breathe life back into them.
Yeah. And one thing I'll backtrack on that again, and this is a little bit, I love our country. I love America, and I wanted to fight for it. I've always wanted to be on the front lines of something great. So I figured Marines, I wanted to be a Marine for a little bit there. And I met recruiters twice. And because I was pretty serious. I mean, I was looking at their boot camp dates, all these things.
So you're like hardcore considering it.
Very. And granted, there was one point where I was nervous about the chain of command at the time with our presidency. Not going to go into that, but I was concerned about that for sure. Because I wasn't willing to take commands from that person, but.
You mean from Obama?
From Obama.
Okay.
Correct. Okay, cool. We can say that. Screw Obama.
Dude.
We're not politically correct on this thing.
Sweet.
I mean, if you ask me, we're politically
Obama,
correct.
Well, we are politically correct, but we're politically correct how politically
the only command I'll take from him is if he asks me to kick him in the balls, and I'll gladly do it.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Anyway.
Happily.
we dropping bombs today. So.
Yeah,
Happily.
anyway.
Okay, cool. We can drop that.
So-
sweet. But anyway,
This is the dangerous man.
This is the
after all.
dangerous man.
Claim your fucking greatness. So, you
Anyway,
wanted to become
so
a Navy SEAL twice.
Marine.
Marine. I said.
I didn't know enough about Navy SEAls at the time.
Oh.
At the time that probably would have been appealing. Really would have been but I remember one time asking, I forgot who it was, man. I asked somebody, so who's the one they sent first in the battle? And they said Marines. I don't know if that, and they said, okay, cool. I want to do the Marines.
Okay.
You wanted to be on the front lines.
I want to be in the front lines. I don't want to be anything home. I wanted to be like at home. I wanted to like be there.
Yeah. So if you knew about like special ops or
if I
or
knew
Navy
about that,
SEALs
I knew
or, like,
nothing about military. I was like, I just want
Army
to be with
Rangers.
whoever's on the front
Yeah.
line.
Okay.
And so I was talking over with one of my very, very close friends at the time. We're kind of falling off at this point, but
And again,
still-
how old are you at this point?
at this point I'm 24, 23, 24. Like around that time, I'm about to give up my dreams. So like, I'm grasping at this point,
Wow.
like for some purpose. And this friend basically told me, he said, man, like he was really kind of discouraging me against it. And one of his main talking points, like, brother, like, the thing is, I don't, those guys, they build such a brotherhood, and we have a brotherhood, and I don't want you to like, I would hate to see you leave us, which is funny because a few years later he left us. And
Wow. Just stab a guy in the back. Why don't you?
yeah, and there were some other people who didn't like that. When I went to serve as a missionary for my second year, I got a lot of backlash for that, a lot from my friends. There's a lesson there. Hold that thought, because I don't regret that decision.
I'm going to hold it like an Italian.
Grasp it, baby.
Yes. I'll keep it right here.
So I let myself be talked out of Marines, even though we're not going to go into another segue. I let myself be talked out of it from family and friends. Up until this last year, I got into a conversation we've had in the show earlier, Dominique Sims, episode like 21 or 20.
What a legend.
Go back and listen to it, boys.
Great,
I'm telling
great
you.
episode. Love
I'm
having him
telling
on.
you, go back and listen to that episode over and over again.
I couldn't agree enough.
Is that guy, anyway, big mentor of mine. I love him. Phenomenal brother. Crap, where was I going?
You're 26 at this point,
Yep.
and your dreams have been dead for 2 years because you came into that belief.
Yes.
And you're
Thank you.
26 on a plane, you were saying.
Thank you, John. So, all that being said, I've been 2 years into just believing that dreams won't happen, and jobs all I'll ever have, that income that's on that sheet of paper, unless negotiations, all that stuff that I can't control anyway happens, that's what I get, right? If I want to make more money, I spend more time at work. That's what I thought my life was going to amount to pretty much. I kept that pretty quiet because men don't complain about things they can't change, or aren't willing to change. Another time I wasn't willing to change it because I thought that was it. I'm on a plane flying home from Dallas, Texas, from a friend's wedding. And oddly enough, fun fact, this is the best $20 ever saved in my life. I was flying there with 2 other friends. You know how airplanes on the airline I was with only has rows of 3.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we decided, and it was roughly around $20, might have been give or take $5, but we saved roughly about $20 to have our seats at random, so we weren't sitting together.
Okay.
So me and my other 2 friends. So all 3 of us were
You
spread out.
almost sat together, but
We
you decided
almost sat
to,
together, but we were all still not financially great. So we're like, man, 20 bucks,
that's-
20 bucks. We're going to save 20 bucks. Best 20 bucks I
I
ever
want to
saved in my
sit
life.
next to you on the plane, but $20 is $20.
Bro, hey man, 20 bucks is 20 bucks.
Oh, man.
And anyway, I am sitting down. There's a book I'm reading called Wild at Heart. And it's about not settling as a man of God. Because also, for the record, I wasn't a complete loser this time. I didn't give up on life because I was still a mentor. I was still encouraging other men.
Yeah, you were still involved in like
but-
doing some leadership stuff.
I was still
like,
involved in
church.
leadership. I was just giving up on my
yeah.
dreams.
Yeah.
But I didn't give up on other people's. Which is actually very hypocritical. But I didn't realize at the time. At the very time, I thought it was noble. So I'm reading a book called Wild at Heart. Highly recommend, boys.
Very good book for men.
Yeah, very good book for men. I'm sitting at the seat, all of a sudden this very large man and his lovely wife come sit next to me, and whatever, we're in the airplane, we take off. Do you guys know Austin Reardon?
No.
Okay, so I lived with him in one of the missionary households I live in. He is a huge mentor of mine in my early 20s.
Shout out to Austin, I guess.
Shout out to Austin, brother Austin
Where
Reardon.
you at, man?
Yeah. He told me he told me one thing. He said, if you're ever in an airplane, always be the last person to put earplugs in, because you never know who you're going to meet. So I'm not against people wearing earplugs while you're on an airplane, but if you're really after something, whether that be faith, evangelization, or business, I think you do yourself a favor by being the last one to plug your earphones in and watch your movie on an airplane. Just saying. Strike conversations. Learn how to do it. It's a great spot. They're sitting there next to you anyway. Might as well do it. But
Facts.
So I decided these two aren't putting earplugs in, so I'm going to read my book. So I broke out Wild at Heart. I saw that, I relate well with people who read the Bible, and this lady had a Bible on her lap, whatever. And I'm reading this book, and I hear her whisper to her husband, Dominique, look at the book he's reading. And I heard that, and I'm drinking my double Jack and Coke, and this guy who I know now is Dominique Sims. And I was over, man, you're reading Wild at Heart? I'm like, dang straight I am, and we talked the whole 3.5 hour ride. The whole 3.5 hour
from Dallas to
Dallas
MSP.
to MSP. Yep. And we exchanged information, found out he played some pro football. Him and I have a ton in common. And I was like, man, that was awesome connection. I really like this guy, but whatever. And a few weeks later, he called me and asked me if I'm looking for anything more. And, there's a
so happens I'm looking for.
Well, honestly, man,
or were you?
I was, but I didn't think. I just didn't think it could happen anymore. Like I wanted something bad. I mean, I even tried selling knives for a little bit. I forgot about that part of my story.
Yeah.
I went off and did some of that.
Was that kind of still in the phase of like, was that kind of around the time you were doing landscaping?
That was in the same time frame.
So you did landscaping and selling knives.
I sold
and
knives.
Parakeets.
Yeah. Well, the parakeets was a few years gone after that, but I forgot about the knife selling. Oh my gosh, that was miserable. I was good at it. I hated doing it, but I was good at it.
Yeah.
But I said, yeah, man, I'm looking. I'm open. And long story short, he brought me to a conference where there are the environment, and that's what I needed at that time. I needed an environment of people to allow me to dream again. I went to a conference, and people always, I always love hearing when people say, "Oh, you're going to a rah conference." Well, guess what, guys? You go to football games. School. Tell me about a rah conference. Anyway, so don't give me crap.
You guys go to concerts and stuff.
Yeah, you guys pay $300 to see a guy play guitar. Okay. And I'm spending maybe $150 to go be inspired and go to discover something that might actually be beneficial to my future. And sorry, that was a little side tangent where I get a little pissed off when people are like, "Oh, you're going to another one of them conferences? Or you're going to another one of them concerts? You're going to another one of them sports games? Shouldn't you be with your family? Shut up." Anyway, golly, it just pisses me off.
Get off his tail about wanting to become a better person by going to a business conference.
Dude, I get looks from, I'm not going to say any names, but I get looks from people that I'm close to, and I say I'm going to another conference. I'm just like, dude, at least I'm doing something.
Yeah.
Why don't you have fun going to work on Monday? Anyway.
Woo!
Anyway.
On the chest
Take
there,
that.
bro.
Yeah. You're doing a real noble service to your family by leaving them every day, while I'm trying to find a way where I can be there present and build something for them, have my kids watch me do something,
and still provide.
Anyway, Dominique, I'm getting mad. But Dominique
Hey,
talked to me about
this is
this
the dangerous man.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're in the right place.
But
You're-
Dominique,
Keep going.
Yeah, he told me about this conference, so
Love
I
this.
went. It was down in Louisville. Down in St. Louis, Missouri. I didn't understand everything that was going on there. I was quite honestly very lost in what these people were talking about. But I went, and at the time I knew this guy very little, but shout out to Dustin Woodrow. I sat down with him. I said, "Hey man, like, what kind of money are these kind of making?" And I asked him the right question, although I didn't know. I asked him what kind of money they're making. I didn't ask how much. And he said they're making the kind of money that allows them to be with their families, and that allows them to pursue the things that they actually want to, so they don't have to be bound by anybody else. And I said, "Okay, well, how much?" And I rephrased my question. and with that 1-2 punch, and hearing the stories of these people and hearing their hearts, because I've never gotten the bad juju that people get, which I think is stupid, about wealthy people are bad. Dude, that's poverty mindset 101. They want you to believe that. Shut up. They're wealthy because they add more value to the world than you do.
That's what the communists want you to believe about people who succeed in capitalism.
Yeah. If you're mad at somebody who's wealthy, it's because they offer more value than you do. So
Come on.
Suck that. Anyway.
Yeah.
But you can still so I think some people some people just are stuck in that mindset, and we need to say like, "Hey man, they offer more value than you.
Build yourself more value." We have libraries that teach how to be millionaires.
It's so with the
free.
With the internet, with books, with podcasts.
Yep.
Shout out to myself.
In this podcast,
You can learn how to make more money and how to work on your mind and all these different things. There's really no reason that you can't do something to make, more money than you're making now.
Yeah.
come on.
Absolutely. And I remember trying to go into too much detail, but basically I remember there was a moment where it was during a talk. Technically, I probably shouldn't have done this, but it was what I needed at the time. I stepped out of the arena. It was a huge arena with thousands of people. I walked outside. It was a sports arena down there, and I just started walking around the arena. And I was looking around at different merchandise, and I was just kind of choking up. I didn't cry, but I was choking up, and the overwhelming thought of I've just been given permission to dream again. I will never forget. And there were
your dreams got a breath of fresh air after being choked.
Yeah. And there's a big deal when people at this conference, when they reach a certain point, these husbands get to allow their wives, and this just killed me. I mean, this hurt me in a very good way, because there's nothing more that I want to do than someday to give a wife the best life she had possible. I'm not passionate about pipe fitting, but I did that because I saw the life that my dad and my uncles were giving their wives. I wanted to give the same.
Yeah.
I thought that was the best that there was, and to my credit, that was the best that I knew. Right. So I went after the best.
I'm seeing a pattern here with you, Jimmy.
Yeah.
This man is passionate about the best qualities in life and the best people, and
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a provider, man. And I have a desire to be. But at this event they have all these they're called diamond dresses, and basically they were on mannequins. It's funny because I'm a 26-year-old dude admiring dresses. I think to this day that's the funniest part of this whole thing is I'm sitting there
here on this episode.
you think a girl would be admiring the dresses, but I'm sitting here being like, man, those guys were able to do that for their wives. For me, I was more so looking at what those dresses represented.
Wow.
And I mentally broke down. I didn't break down in tears, but I mentally broke down in my life. I've never viewed.
But you broke down the other way.
I broke down the other way, man. I have never viewed my future.
So really, you broke up.
Wait.
No, anyway.
Yeah.
I want to hear this.
I had a mental reset. Like there was an update and an upload into my brain. I probably walked around those dresses. I probably stayed around that whole area for about an hour. I missed about an hour's worth of talks, but I think that was the best thing for me at the time. And then I walked back in, and this is after that conversation with Dustin Wurtrell, another shout out, big guy. But that changed my life. There's been a long process up till then. I had a lot of, man, I'm still I believe conversion is a daily process. Growth is a daily process. I have a long way to go, but I think about that. I've gone to that conference ever since, and I think about that every time. Wow. Fuck.
Getting a little emotional here.
Yeah, dude.
Let it out.
We're getting the real Jimmy Abbott here.
Yeah, because those 2 years, man, from the time I was 24, 26, I really did believe that was it. And I was okay with it. I accepted that. And that moment, walking around with a bunch of dresses, by myself. I was just out there by myself, walking around. And I saw dreams. I saw visions of, man, I could actually have that farmhouse one day. I could wake up on a Tuesday, and take my, walk on a lawn instead of throwing steel toes on. I heard what these people have done for their families. Man, if I could pay off debts for my family, end a cycle of debt, be a little less controllable. What makes Donald Trump so irritating to the Democrats? He's not controllable. He didn't take a presidential salary. Mm-hmm. He didn't need it. He doesn't need salary from the government. He doesn't need help.
Yeah.
He's uncontrollable. That's why they don't like him.
He's dangerous.
That's why they want you poor. That's why they want you working a job. That's why they want you doing the 401k, all this retirement plan bullshit. They want to keep you poor.
Oh yeah.
They want to keep in control over it. Everybody's watching the economy. Dude, if your job, if your future is dependent on the economy, you are in the wrong occupation.
Fire, dude.
And I am. I'm working as a pipe fitter. It's very economic.
I was waiting to hear what you were going to
conclude
that with. I was like, damn, that's a hook.
I am in the wrong occupation as a pipe fitter.
Yeah.
It's very seasonal. The amount of times because one thing,
Really?
I came into it thinking, and this is true, thinking I can work all these hours. I can take off whenever I want. If they don't like it, they can lay me off. Nobody told me about economic layoffs. Nobody told me about seasonal. Where there was one point I was laid off for 7 months.
I do remember that.
Wow.
That sucked. Talk about feeling like a loser. Sitting in your parents' basement for 7 months without a job. And yet you're totally available. Huh? As a man in his mid-20s. Yeah. And that really set me back. Like, man, like how could you ever be the provider you want to be?
Like, had these lies that kind of like leaked in.
Yeah.
Right.
Or you didn't keep your guard up against them.
I didn't keep my guard up against them because honestly, brothers, I didn't know to. I didn't know to do that.
Because you're really passionate about personal development and mindset and growth as a man. Mm-hmm. And, obviously this is one reason that Jimmy's a founder of this movement is these things are passions of his that have changed his life. Mm-hmm. But at the time you didn't have that asset of how to think well, how to, take thoughts and not let them, continue to fester. And you were pretty barren at the time without a lot of support before you really started to learn how to have that over your mind, I'd imagine. Yeah.
Yep. But I will say, as far as personal development goes, that was something that I was working on before that. Because John, you remember high school Jimmy?
Yeah.
Was he a little bit of a hothead? Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a wee bit, dude. I would freaking rage on people just for bringing up my temper.
Yeah.
We still talk about the holidays. Like,
yeah.
My niece Alyssa, she's a little older than I am. She's only 4 months. We grew up together. She goes, Jimmy, I remember whenever we'd bring up your temper, it would be the end of the party because you would just yell at everybody. It was over. I was so touchy, so sensitive. Insecure is the actual word, but at a certain point, I realized there was something wrong, and so there was personal development because even though like I'd given up my dreams, I still knew I wanted to be a better man. So
yeah,
I was working on that, and so I think a lot of that the fight.
When was that pivot?
When was that pivot to like want to stop with the anger?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking in general.
Yeah,
you're talking about your dreams and starting to have this like these visions of the farmhouse and providing this future for your wife someday, right? And I'm guessing that kind of was a pivotal moment when you wanted to make some changes in your life. But before then, you're just saying like I've always been into development. What was that? I guess pivot point to really double down on who you are today. You know, is that in that moment? Is that
at the conference? Was that a moment?
Mm-hmm. Or what?
You know, honestly, that conference pretty much just gave me permission to believe in my dreams again and gave me permission to dream again.
Yeah.
The personal development, I didn't understand how important personal development was. I'm shameful to say this. It took me about a year after that moment to understand the importance of personal development.
Yeah.
In a business aspect, in a life aspect. Because for me, I was narrowed in, I was zoned in on mastering my temper. And so that's the only personal development I pursued.
Was not flying off the handle.
Was not just flipping out at people for literally just looking at me weird.
Yeah.
Like I was absurd. My brother's probably, if he's listening to this, he's probably laughing right now. Because it's true. I've grown a lot since. A lot.
Yeah, you have,
but yeah, so that conference was it just gave me permission to dream. The farmhouse, man, that's kind of always been a dream of mine, and to live in the country, because I kind of did for a little bit there. And as a pipe fitter, like I'll definitely tell you, during that 24, 25, 26 time, I was asking a bunch of guys, hey man, where do you live? And everybody lived at least an hour outside of the Twin Cities. I'm like, hey man, do you regret doing that? Oh no, not at all. I'm like, sweet, I'm gonna drive. I'm okay with an hour commute to work every day. So I was just gonna do that. But yeah, man. So here we are, 4 years later from that conference. I'll be going to my 5th one in October. Lexington, Kentucky this time. My dreams now, you know, kind of where I'm headed. And I'm generally really, really shy to share some of this stuff. But I think I want guys to understand that you can dream bigger. You need to dream bigger. Your family depends on it. Your kids need to see you. Your kids are watching you. They're watching what you do. And go back, listen to the Dominique Sims episode. He talks about this. His daughters watch him every day pursue something. That's because he watched his brothers pursue something, Division I sports, because he watched his dad do the dental, his grandpa pursue the veterinary business. Okay, these things get handed down. I want this to start with me. So here I am 4 years later. My goals is no longer to be in the job scene, in the pipe fitter scene. I hope to set down we wear skull caps. They're these ugly, or otherwise they're called chromers. Lay down the chromer one last time, just in the steel toe boots, and walk into the land of living. and be able to raise my kids the way I want to, be able to have the time to serve people, teach people how to hunt. Man, I want to be able to do that on like a Tuesday.
Yeah.
I always say Tuesday.
I feel like this is going to be a book you write. Something about Tuesday.
Something about Tuesday. I always bring up Tuesday.
That's the title of the book.
Yeah.
Is just something about Tuesdays.
For all you listeners out there, I bring up Tuesdays a lot just because like you can always take off a Monday or a Friday. Not too many people take off Tuesdays. So I always bring up Tuesday for just because.
When you don't have to, when
you don't have to
you're
work.
financially free and you don't have to work.
Every day's Saturday, so why not just call it Tuesday?
Yeah. Dude, that could be the book title.
Every day is Saturday, so why not call it Tuesday?
Oh, man. Wow.
But yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know if we're looking to wrap up here, but one big thing I want listeners is just say it out loud. And this is something I'm learning to get better at, guys. I'm not perfect. I'm still, I mean, I'm with a couple guys who I'm very vulnerable with. You guys know a lot of my flaws. I'm not perfect, but I'm on the journey.
Yeah.
And I want my future kids to see that. And at the very least, I want these guys to see it. I want you guys to see that. Have somebody to perform for. You're going to have naysayers. You're going to have, I mean, trust me, I got them.
Yeah.
Trust me, I got them. I mean, like I said, I have people who roll their eyes at me going to this conference. But if I paid the same money, if not more, to go to a concert, they'd ask me, how was the concert?
Right. But not how was the event that's going to help you provide the future for your
and
family
actually
you
make
want?
money, you know?
Bro.
Yeah.
Golly, it makes me mad. Like that mentality.
I think that's righteous.
It's just so poisonous. It's just such a cancer.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm thinking about you. Like if you ever bring that, you gotta find
people in your life that are gonna support your dreams. And Adam and I talk about this a lot because it's so true. They're like you're gonna run into naysayers. One of the best books that I've read about it is Grant Cardone writes a book called Be Obsessed or Be Average, and he goes off about haters and naysayers. And but you got to find guys in your corner that you could put in your pocket like an asset, like money coming in your pocket. People coming into your life with their positive, their encouragement, and get excited, get passionate about what each other's dreams are, and you know that is so important. And we stress that so much here in the Dangerous Man movement. These are men that it's not just like, oh, you're doing your thing and I'm gonna be competitive to you and like, you know what I mean, trying to kind of like the high school, like I'm gonna have like a chip on my shoulder over you. It's like you actually find that like you get into a group of guys that actually want to win together and help each other win and celebrate each other winning. And it's like, dude, that's just such a different attitude than like the naysaying and you know. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know, great. I'm glad you brought up the having guys in your corner. Be very careful about who you share your dreams with. Okay. If for me, my dreams are sacred. Okay, very sacred. Okay. If anybody so much as does a to any of my dreams, I'm done. They don't get to hear it anymore. And that actually brings up the vast majority of people in my life. I mean, pretty much, I can only think of one guy right now that gets the majority of my dreams. He doesn't get them all though, because he's not in any business venture with me. And he's a phenomenal friend, phenomenal brother. But he doesn't get it all because we're not in business ventures together. But he's the only person I can think of that gets the majority. But I don't share any of my dreams with anybody who has ever commented about anything I'm doing, who has ever questioned how I'm spending my time, and who has ever questioned or even give me a little, and I don't mean, I'm not talking like genuinely confused. I'm talking somebody's like
kind of blowing you off a little bit.
Good luck with that kind of attitude. You're done. I don't share my dreams with you anymore. You don't get them until you see it.
This is a big piece of wisdom that you are really passionate about, Jim. I've noticed, and want to kind of call this out here to listeners of how would you kind of describe this as a phrase to pass on to people? Like, don't share your dreams with, or how would you want to phrase that?
Don't share your dreams with small minds. If you're a dreamer and you believe there's more, you have a bigger mind than people. Walk around with that mindset.
Why do you think it's important to cultivate or to continue to build your dreams?
Prioritize who you spend your time with. If you look on my phone, I have a lot of unread messages. And you guys have seen this on my contacts.
Mm-hmm.
And for you guys, I have emojis next to people.
Yeah.
Those emojis are like little flashes for me to prioritize that text. And you'll see that I'm super slow. I mean, like weeks slow to replying to anybody who doesn't have one of those emojis, because I prioritize. I am intentional about the time I spend with people who have big dreams. I limit my time with neutral people, and I spend no time with negative. So I'm going to rephrase that again another way. I spend time with positive people. I monitor the time I spend with neutral people, because those are good people too.
Yeah.
And they have good intentions. They have good heart. And so do the negative people. But I ain't got time for them. I ain't got time for them.
Nobody got time for that.
I can't. Those are the people I want to invite to my retirement party. Those are the people that I'm first thinking of to send retirement. Hey, man, come to my retirement party. It's on Tuesday at noon. I hope you can get off work for it.
That's amazing.
I will do that.
You ain't going to be 60 years old.
I will do that. I'm not going to be 60.
Within the next couple years.
Yeah. I'm not going to be 60 when I'm retiring. Oh, I can't wait.
Maybe that's the name of the book, is just Tuesday at noon.
Tuesday at noon.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, does that answer your question? That's my big thing, man. Don't share your dreams with small minds. Be intentional about who you hang out with. I mean, that's one thing, Dominique, and I'm actually been pursuing him more lately. And I'll tell you what, man, especially this past week, I've been pursuing him more, and I want to spend more time with him, because you know what, back in the good old days, what did they used to do when one kid had chicken pox? They all had a play date because they wanted them to catch it. Okay. Catch the sickness. If you have a buddy who has a sickness of success, have him cough on you.
Get all over that.
Catch the sickness. To this point, this quote is so saturated, I don't even know who said it anymore. But you're gonna be the sum of the top 5 people you hang out with. Okay. Mm-hmm. Hang out with people who are either wealthier than you. If you can't find those, hang out with people who want more wealth than they have. If you want to be a good dad, because I know my brother is big time. He's one of the best dads I ever met in my life. Guess what? He hangs out with other good dads. Shocker. Anyway, just a shocker right there.
Strategies right
here,
guys.
You think he did this all by himself? He figured this all by himself by being a kick-ass husband, kick-ass dad. No. I've seen the men he hangs out with. He's intentional about who he hangs out with, because he wants to be the best dad he can be. I want to be the best entrepreneur I can be. I want to be the best addition to DMC that I can be. Guess what? I'm going to hang out with guys like John. I almost said John and Adam Castoris. John Castoris and Adam Tuff. I'm going to hang out with Dominique Sims. I'm going to hang out with Peter Jendal. Danny Jendal. I'm going to intentionally spend time with those guys. Other friends, and you guys know the other friends. You guys know them. They're all good people. I love them. I do anything for them. But I'm not going to be intentional with my time with them. Just because, they're just not helping me in the ways that I need to be helped right now.
You put people in front of you in their mindset and the kind of energy and attitude that comes from them, even the types of things they talk about and things that come up in conversation, what's on my mind is fantasy football or this player or this stat. Mm-hmm. And it's like those types of attitudes or attitudes of negativity or whatnot, It's just like you can see somebody's priorities. You can see their values. And when you ask the question, do I want the life that this person has?
Yes.
If the answer is no, then you should be digging deep as a man. And actually, you don't really got to dig that deep. It's a pretty quick decision.
What kind of life do you want to have?
Yeah. Do you want to be like them? If the answer is no, then don't listen to them. Don't filter out the bullshit. Even get them out of your life. Oh, that seems pretty harsh, John. Well, I'll put it this way. If you really are the sum, let's get logical here, not emotional. If you really are the sum of the 5 people that you spend your most time with, that almost wants to show you another side of that saying is that it's really fucking important to surround yourself with really good fucking people.
Yeah.
And if they're going to be anything but like think about it. Pick any 5 people you possibly would want to surround yourself with every day. One of them for me would be Tony Robbins.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Or any of my mentors. I have a lot. I'm not going to go on.
More than 5.
Don't get me going here. But like, dude, imagine being around a Tony Robbins. And if they aren't feeding you like he does with
catch that sickness.
Oh my gosh, dude. It's like, I know that.
You can't even jokingly call that sickness.
How important is momentum in your life? Yeah. When I am starting to make moves and gain momentum, think about the snowball rolling down the hill, getting bigger and faster. And every time you have these people with their thoughts or negative or other just random conversations that don't really serve my purpose. They don't keep me on track. They don't help my business build. They don't encourage me. They aren't, it's like, how much time do we waste, right? How much time do we waste in front of the TV doing recreation with not the people you love, which is people that drain you.
And a lot of that recreation is just to avoid being bored.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not actually
oh
like,
my gosh.
It doesn't actually help you. That's a whole nother podcast episode.
I can tell you what.
We'll save for a
the point is though that every time that happens, you expose yourself to their energy.
Yep.
You're chipping away from the snowball and you're slowing it down and you're pushing it off course. You're getting it. And all of a sudden that snowball's in Florida and it's melting. It's like slippery slope, John. Sure. But do you want a rocket pushing you further forward, or do you want people throwing you, think about it, push you and you're off balance. And then you got to rebalance yourself, right? And then the moment you rebalance, I'm going to push you again and you're unbalanced. Yep. It's like, well, how am I supposed to run or perform anything well when I'm constantly just getting pushed? And it's unnecessary. And you can conserve that energy and distraction and discouragement by just filtering the people around you.
Damn right.
And that is a huge lesson that I'm getting from what you're saying, Jimmy, is that's really important to you.
And even bringing recreation into that, dude. Recreation is so much more satisfying when you're pursuing something because you almost feel it. For example, a couple weeks ago, DMC went for a boat ride. Mm-hmm. Guys,
that's
when you're we went on a dangerous men's cruise on my dad's fishing boat.
Hell yeah,
it was awesome. I may have hit a few waves a little too hard. I apologize, guys. You guys had a headache the next day.
Oh, that was.
There were some waves. There were some white caps on Lake Pepin that day.
Hey man, flip the boat or
I may have hit him a little too hard. But like recreation, when you're pursuing something, it's like so much sweeter.
Yeah.
And so much more meaningful. Like we're not reminiscing. We're talking about the future.
Yeah.
And then another segue, another bit. I just want to touch on these points. Another segue is I'm a Vikings fan. I love football. I love it. I'll tell you what, and I'm gonna put fear in the right people here. If this hurts you, this is an area you need to grow. Okay, these past 4 years have been the least I've ever watched the Vikings game. I don't think I've watched more than 2 full Vikings games in a season the past 4 years. Now, I'll catch maybe 5 minutes of a quarter here and there as I'm walking past the TV because I'll go to my parents' house and they're watching.
Highlights.
You can catch up on a whole game on a 10-minute thing on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's why actually for conversation networking, I'm able to keep up with that because I just watched the highlights. Mm-hmm. Dude, Justin Jefferson, he did phenomenal. I just watched the highlights. I saw what he did. I narrowed a whole game down in 10 minutes. I get it. I love watching. I love sports.
You love the process of the game.
I love the process of the game. I love the mentality. To me, it's a chess game. To me, it's like a chess match. But guys, you gotta ask yourself if watching a football game is going to be a reward. Those 2 times I did was a very intentional reward for myself. That I'm going to sit down with people I love. I'm going to sit down with my mom because she can't. It's like one of her love languages is watching Vikings games. Okay. Wow. I'm going to intentionally sit down and watch football with my mother. because I did this for my business, because I did this, I'm satisfied. I got my workout in. I did something. I built my business. I'm going to make sure I'm there for the 7:00 game or whatever noon game, whatever it is. If I do these things, I will watch this with my mother and I'll honor her. So now I'm building my business so that I can honor my mom. So like, if this is challenging for our listeners here, good. Now you have something to like, now you have something to kind of like, I don't mean to make it sound dumb, but tie a carrot in front of yourself on a stick. Give yourself your boss does it to you all day, puts a carrot in front of your stick. Oh, here's a paycheck. You get a new one every week. There's a carrot on a stick. You never.
But you gotta spend as much time here as possible to get
hey man, put a carrot in front of your and put your own carrot in front of your own head and chase it around for your own dreams instead of your boss's.
Why don't you call that carrot your dreams?
Yeah,
the things that motivate you to the deepest level of who you are as a man.
If you're gonna look dumb chasing something around, might as well look dumb chasing your own dream.
I want that on a t-shirt, man. That's great.
If you're gonna look,
say it again.
If you're gonna look dumb chasing something around, might as well look dumb chasing your own dream.
Wow.
I have a note card on my mirror that I look at every day. I forgot who quoted it. I wish I would have wrote down who said this, but it was 2 traps you need to avoid. 1, care what they think. 2, think that they care. It's freeing. Once you realize, and you guys look up Andy Frisell at his, what is it, top 10 realities of life or whatever. It's actually the background of my phone.
Yeah.
Which is right there. But
top 10. Yeah.
Top 10.
He's got 10 like philosophies for life.
Yeah. I'm actually like type it out and put it in my poster in my room because they're just phenomenal.
Good.
But like nobody cares. His number 1 is nobody cares about what you do until you've finished. Okay. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
And I will segue right back into why your association is so important. Spend time with people you want to be like. Spend time, and man, if you don't know anybody who's a millionaire who you can spend time with, who is accessible, fine. Find guys who haven't settled yet. Find your buddy who's kind of doing that stupid side business. Quote unquote stupid side business. At least he's doing something, dumbass. It might be stupid, but at least he's doing something. He might be the guy you're working for in 10 years. So watch out.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, make friends with him. Or, hey man, DMC, apply for DMC. Plug in with us. Guys, we're
absolutely.
Guys, come on. Stop settling. It hurts me. I mentor some guys in more of a spiritual sense. And I so desire them to see beyond. I'm gonna call it the college mindset. I believe it's not a permanent vaccine. I think it's a vaccine that can be cured, but college tends to be a vaccine for dreams. Like, I mean that in a way that it kills dreams.
Yeah.
You have a sickness for a dream, and we're just gonna inject you so you don't catch that again. So you can get this job mentality back.
Right. I mean,
don't get Danny started on college.
Be a good little job.
Be a good little
worker.
job boy.
Yeah.
Go party. Spend $80,000 on a degree that takes you 4 years, which really could take you 3.
Yeah.
Well, you know the saying, a salary is where a man's dreams go to die.
Yep.
Golden handcuffs, as some people call them.
Or a carrot.
Or a carrot. Or golden carrot.
I like the image of a carrot because it just makes you look that much dumber.
Yeah.
If you think you're going someplace in life and you're chasing a promotion, brother, who's in control of that promotion? Let me tell you what, it's not you. Your boss. Are you waiting for your boss to die? Are you gonna marry your boss's daughter or something? Like, what do you like? What right. You don't have the control.
Are we uniting kingdoms?
Yeah,
like in the ancient days with marriage, or like,
what do you who's in control of that? Yes, there are things you can control, right? Be on time, be a good employee, and please do, guys. I'm not encouraging being a bad employee.
Actually, when you do have a job, work it the best you can, but know that it's not the end.
My job, my mentality every day is, yes, I'm going to be free. I'm going to retire early. I want to be bargained with, to be kept. I want them to be like, hey man, we'll give you a raise. We'll get you a new phone. We'll restock your truck.
Right.
We'll do whatever. Like, if you could just stay, please. I want that.
Mhm.
That's how,
because I want to know that I
want.
want to know I left as a good employee and I left valuable.
Yeah.
I don't want people like, oh, thank God he left. Good for him. I'm glad he retired. But oh man, I'm glad he left. I want people to be like, I want my employer to miss me when I'm gone.
Yeah.
And so guys, like, don't say, oh, well, fuck my job. Don't say that. Work hard. Be a hard worker in everything. Excellence has to be in everything you do. If you go into a public bathroom,
Absolutely.
pick up all the toilet paper that's all on the floor. That pisses me off when people walk by that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned that in wrestling in high school to pick that stuff
The
up.
opportunities that we have in our life,
Mhm.
and maybe we'll wrap on this.
Yeah.
Note. The opportunities we have in our life, a job,
Yep.
Some kind of hobby, maybe it's sports or outdoors. I know hunting's really big for you. I know we didn't really get time to go into that this time, but
Oh man, speaking
there'll be many more times.
More times.
We can get
Jimmy
into the hunting aspects of life, but these opportunities are in our lives today.
Yeah.
I have my job that I work, and I have it today. Jimmy, you have your pipe fitting job, and that's your reality today.
Correct.
And my ability to show up as a man and give as much fucking value to those people who are in my life today is the opportunity that I've been given to learn how to be a man, to learn how to grow. There's lessons in today. Like, you get to face situations at work that challenge you and help you grow. And you're going to need that lesson to be the man you need to be tomorrow for your family, for your future family and wife and kids. And when you are a full-time entrepreneur doing your own thing, when we really are able to scale up all the work that we're doing with this movement, like, we have a lot of dreams with helping men in the Dangerous Man movement. And we can't wait to have our time to really dedicate to that. But our placement right now, our mission is to be faithful to receiving those lessons and growing from them, growing out of those old habits. It's like, our ability to go hard at the gym outside of a job, when we go to our gyms and we work on our fitness and we fix our diet. We have so many opportunities in our life to start implementing the journey of a dangerous man. And part of that journey is going to be where you have your retirement party, Jimmy, and you say goodbye to working a 9 to 5.
Yep.
And you're going to move on to the next phase where you can help people in a new way, and you can use your resources and the money you've been able to earn to build a new life and to be able to help new people. And there's tiers to the mission. There's tiers to the growth. There's tiers to the journey. We're always, till we die, we're always wanting to become the best man we possibly could be, because the beauty of it is every day we can be better than we were yesterday.
Yep.
And that's a choice that you make every moment of the day. Depression can be a reality of yesterday, because in the moments where you could, start to go into the thought patterns, right? Because depression is just a pattern of thinking. You could choose to look up a Tony Robbins video and learn how to break a mental pattern. And in 5 minutes, break out of your depression and move on. Like, these resources, these books, you could read Think and Grow Rich at the library for free. And you can start to apply these principles and watch your life change. And I think the paralyzing conclusion to this is that you think that has to happen right now. But the truth is, you need to take a step. And what I love about your story, Jimmy, is that is lots of steps over many years. And your parakeet business isn't what got you free from a job, but it gave you hope. It gave you a taste of something, and that's
Nacho Libre would say, I tasted the glory.
It's a great movie. It sucks, but it's great.
It sucks. It's the best terrible movie
I
I've
would
ever
just
seen.
leave all of our listeners here of like, how grateful we are to have you, Jim, come and share your story and your heart. One thing you might be surprised that I say this, but I actually love how angry you get. I really do, because there is a righteousness to your desire. And like guys haven't been able to see this yet because Jimmy's new to being on the podcast, and we hope to make him for sure really regular. But he just has this righteous anger of wanting to see men claim their greatness and see what is in front of them, that reignite the dreams they had once left to die, and how awesome it's going to be to see this whole movement unite. This isn't a bunch of guys climbing over each other, backstabbing, leaving each other. This is a movement of men that want to unite and become a strong brotherhood and encourage each other's dreams and encourage each other to be the best they can be, because we want to be that for our future families, for our children. Maybe you are married and have a family now and you have kids now, if you're listening, to be what they need to see and to know that you can become that man, that I can become that man. And then we have an obligation to, but also that's what we were created for. That's what we were born for. And so then I just get to receive. I just get to go out and claim that. That's why we say that. That's why we say claim your greatness. I truly, it's laid out for me today. I get to step into it.
Yep.
I get to receive that. As much as it's me working hard, that's already the victory that's ahead of me, man.
Bro, I want to go punch a brick wall right now.
Yeah. So that's just what I want to leave on. And that's how I'm inspired by you, man. And just,
well, thank you.
I feel like you connect the dots in a lot of ways, and it's really encouraging.
Cool. Well, thanks, man. Really honored to be here. This has been feels like man, most of that stuff I've never shared with more than like 2 people in my life. So this is kind of cool to be able to share in this platform. And I hope I add value. I hope this added value to guys. And like I said before, guys, give yourself permission. If you guys need permission to dream, if you need permission, I don't care if you have a family. I don't care if you think you're too old or inadequate or stupid. Actually, John and I were one last little segue.
Come on.
I was just telling John, I know so many people who are free from a job, who are wealthy, great marriages. I think I'm smarter than them. What separates them? They believe and they're enthusiastic about their dreams. Start with that. Lie to yourself. If you don't believe in your dreams, lie to that's what I had to do. I had to do it for a while. I had to lie to myself. I had to tell myself, okay, even though I'm still working on believing this, I'm just gonna tell myself it's true. I'm gonna tell myself it's true. Guess what? You start believing it.
Yeah.
So
you chose the dream over the fear. And
so if you need permission, guys, I don't know where to look. I'm looking here. I'm giving you permission to dream again. You have permission. Okay. By the authority invested in me, you have permission to dream again. Pursue it.
We say,
bring us home, Adam.
Claim your greatness. Not because it's something that you have to go out and take a hold of. It's because that's already something that is within you. When Jimmy says, lie to yourself if you need to, you don't need to lie to yourself. Because that greatness is already within you.
Share the show if you want to help other men embrace danger and become truly great. You've been listening to The Dangerous Man. Join us next time. Until then,
claim your greatness
and stay dangerous.